Hello, Happy New Year. I hope you had a good Christmas break. It was a good one for me. And even though I was on my Christmas break, I did get a lot of messages from people saying, hey, can we see your fossil collection? Can we see how it is now? Even though I was on my break. So, that's what I'm going to do. I am going to show you what it looks like at the moment and what it's turned into since the last time I went over it. So, this should be good. Alrighty, let's have a look at the fossils that I have found. I've done a fair bit of fossil hunting since September 2015 around South Wales, and I want to do more, and this is some of it. It is right here, and as you can see, there is a lot of ammonites here, and this one, if I remember correctly, is the first fossil ammonite I ever found back in September, so that was pretty exciting. It's just a little partial there. Now I have actually identified this one, this one, this one, and this one, and that as Caloceris johnstonii. They are very similar, and they seem to be very common around the area next to Cardiff, actually, near Lavernock Bay, basically. They would have been around, they would have thrived, actually, around the Triassic period and Jurassic, so that is them. Very nice ammonites. But, as you may have seen the centerpiece, this is definitely my favourite, and it was fantastic finding this fossil. I was just walking along the coast, and there it was. I would have thought someone would have picked it up long before I had got there, so I'm assuming it must have come out the cliff very recently to when I got there. And I actually used this was the centerpiece for a university assignment that I did, and I've identified this as Scolophomia angulata, which is a German genus name, but this is a species that obviously you can find in the UK. Very excited. I know it's only a partial, but it's so big. I mean, try and pick that up. You get an idea. That's a large ammonite, and I'm so happy I found that. And you can see the keel as well. I tried prepping it out a little bit, but obviously my experience of prepping ammonites is very little, so I've been pretty gentle and careful with that. So I don't know how much more I'm going to do, but that is an awesome ammonite. And as you can see, there's little bits like this that I did for a drawing with the assignment, and also there's this diagram I did of that particular fossil. So I'm still waiting to get marked on that, but hopefully it's going to be a good one. I have also found quite a few bivalves, which are pretty awesome. They're probably as easy to find as the ammonites, but I'm not that massively keen on them. But this one, that was awesome to find. I believe this belongs to the genus Plegostoma, which is very nice bivalve. This one in particular, I was happy to find that. But you know, I mean, these little ones, they're very common to find, but I'm not so keen on them. No offense. Also, organic material. When I found this, I wasn't so sure if it was a coprolite, but I've had it identified as organic material, but it was probably like seaweed or something. But you can see in there's lots of microfossils. And then over here, there are some other ammonites that I found, but they're a little bit more difficult to see. So you really have to shine them in the light. But there's one. Moving on, as you may know, this is my replica skull of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Very cool. And you may have known recently that Nicolas Cage actually bought a stolen skull belonging to Tarbosaurus, and he returned it, luckily. I have to say, I don't agree with actually claiming and putting in your collection real, genuine fossils of like skulls like this. If you had a real Tyrannosaurus skull and you just kept it into a private collection, you know, there's some serious issues there, just because like we're still learning so much about them and there's a lot of scientific value, but also to just lock it away for yourself is kind of selfish, really. Like, you would want people to see them from all over the world. Now, of course, there's a possibility that just because something goes into a private collection doesn't mean you're never going to see it again. It's never going to be seen to science. That's not true. And I do have quite a lenient view of collecting fossils. As you may know, I do it myself, but I do think there is a line to cross at the same time. And you know, you can collect common pieces like Spinosaurus teeth and similar fossils like that, but once you get onto taking on skulls and stuff, I need to just question yourself, is that the right thing to do, and if you get it, what are you going to do with it? Because just locking it away in a cardboard box in your garage isn't particularly something that I would recommend. Now that I've talked about the Tarbosaurus issue, let's move on to the other stuff that I have. And this is probably the coolest stuff I actually do have, the T-Rex fossil collection. And there's little bones here, but little bone fragments. So a piece of a vertebra processor, rib, and other pieces of bone that are hard to distinguish where they would have been in the body. I assume that this would have been skull or hip. Vertebra again, and this could be really anywhere, to be honest, but this is cool. This is a gastralia, and only the theropods have them, so there's a strong likelihood that that definitely belonged to T-Rex. But of course all of these are, it's difficult to say, but they do have the common characteristic of the honeycomb structure, which is a good indication that they do belong to T-Rex. But of course with bone fragments like this, it's kind of up in the air. But something that is definitely from T-Rex are these two fossils. There's no way these do not belong to T-Rex. These are fragments of teeth. This is a little piece of a tooth here, and if I go in closer, you can see the serrations. Very nice piece. And then over here is my favorite. This is a chunk of a Tyrannosaurus Rex tooth. It's not good quality, it's pretty ugly, but that was in the mouth of one of the most infamous dinosaurs that ever lived. Very cool. It's just a shame that if you look there, you can see the edges of the serrations, but a massive crack has gone through them. But that's where they would have been. That would have been the anterior side of the tooth, which means the front. This is the back, and as you can see, that's not looking so good. But I do really love that tooth. It's a nice big chunk of a T-Rex tooth, a shed tooth. Very nice. And then as you may have seen here, yeah, these are T-Rex teeth, but they are replicas. I could not get something like this. This is, you know, this is remarkable, and definitely for museums to have if you ever found a tooth like that. I mean, wow. But it does give you a good indication of how thick and strong these teeth are for breaking bone, and basically nothing would have gone to waste in the T-Rex diet. This is a monster weapon to have in your mouth, and T-Rex didn't just have one, it didn't have two, it could have had up to 50, so that's ridiculous. And of course, if it lost a tooth, it really didn't care, because a new one would regrow in its place. Fantastic. Over here, I'm not so sure if it's a T-Rex fossil. It's probably more of an Edmontosaurus, but the reason why I've put it in here is just because it's most likely from the same location. Two ribs, and it looks like these would have been the distance apart when the animal died. This is probably actually articulated in its small amount of what's actually here, but it's very cool. Two ribs fossils here.